Alright, so let's get started with Farming Simulator 19. Now, there's a couple of different modes that you can play this game in. Multiplayer is obviously very, very popular, but we're not going to look at that today. We're going to kind of just start out, as a new farmer. So we're going to jump into the career mode. So I've got a couple of save games there, but let's start a new one because I want to kind of take you through that process. So there's a couple of different options, and these are really important. New Farmer is the one that I'd recommend if you haven't played it before. You get a whole bunch of equipment, you get a farm, and there's some kind of really handy hints there that will get you going super fast. If you've done a sim game before, or you think you want to try a little bit harder, you can go to the Farm Manager. So Farm Manager, you get some funds, but you don't get any buildings and equipment. So for a new person, that's quite difficult to kind of navigate, especially in the game and in your head, if you're not too familiar with farming. And then there's the start from scratch, which I can wholeheartedly not recommend because it's very, very difficult. You get nothing and everything is turned up to the hardest it can possibly be. So let's start in the new farmer mode. Now, out of the box, you've got a couple of different options for your farm. It's the same. They're both equally as equipped. I kind of like the look of Felsbrunn a little bit more, so that's my go-to. And it's as simple as just clicking continue. You can, of course, customize your avatar, and this dude looks far cooler than me, so I'm just going to run with that. But you can customize that entire experience. It's not a particularly heavy game, so it doesn't take very long to load, and then you're straight into the game and ready to get going. Alright, so here is our farm. So this is our farm in Felsbrunn. We've chosen the new farmer, so we've got some equipment, we've got some buildings, we've got some fields. Pretty easy to navigate around this game. It's just using the joysticks on the Xbox controller, or you can use mouse and keyboard if you want to. What I thought I'd do first though, is really important to be able to navigate the menu, because you'll need to use that a fair bit during the game. So pretty easy, just hitting start, and here are all of our tabs that are available. So I'll take you from the start. You've got the map view. That's probably the most important. So you can see your farm there and all of your equipment and what they're doing, because sometimes you might have equipment working on other farms, or you might be sending something up to the mill to get some money for your produce. So that's really, really important that you know how to kind of navigate this around. So check that out. Also, where you can sell your product and the prices that you're going to get from them. Also, you can manage your vehicles, you can see your profit and loss statements. Also, you can do contracts on other lands as well too. So if you're waiting for your fields to grow or fertilize or seed, you can jump over and earn some extra money in between doing some contracts. So as you can imagine, there's so many statistics in this game. It really is real farming and shows you how difficult farming is, even at the best of times in real life. Game settings, there's so many that you can choose here. One of the ones that I move a lot is the timescale, just depending on how quickly I need a farm to yield its harvest. So you have a muck around with that. Real time is a bit slow, but you'll get right into it very, very quickly. There's a whole bunch of other things in here as well too, colorblind mode, the dollar units if you want to be super specific about that. But you're going to find yourself in the menu quite often, just kind of checking things from time to time. So remember that and check that out. Alrighty, let's get farming. So some things that I would have appreciated to know when I started this is kind of what stuff does, because this all looks pretty alien and foreign for me. There's kind of three different parts to farming, and this is a really basic view, is cultivating the land. So you can see that we've harvested that before, so it's no good anymore, and we need to kind of churn it over and give it a bit of some rejuvenation. Then, obviously, you need to plant your seeds, so you need a seeder. So this is the seeder we've got. And once it's grown, you need to harvest it. So you've probably seen heaps of these things around the place in your travels. So to harvest a full field of wheat here. So that's called a combine harvester. And then obviously we don't do this for fun. We need to collect that grain and take it to the market for sale. So they're the four machines that you get given to start with, and now I will show you how to get started. So they're all pretty similar in the way that they work. So to jump into the vehicle, you just press X. Now what you need to do is you need to attach the cultivator so they come detached. Now, more importantly, at the front you can see this kind of grey thing. It's a weight, and I've driven over, I don't know, 1,000 times those, so you need to get that connected. But what that does is make sure that your cultivating is even. Now, if you're super game, you can go and do it manually. It's really not that hard, but it is a bit boring. So the best thing I've found is you can actually hire a worker. So we've got plenty of money, so we can get the workers off and ready to do some of that manual labour for us whilst we do other things. Now, I thought to change vehicles in the beginning, you just jumped out and the old worker will continue on and you have to go run back to the vehicles. Wrong, you don't. You can use the D-pad to switch between. So I'm actually going to start the harvesting now, so I can still drive the harvester up and back it around. You can see how many times I've crashed. It's probably another whole video with that in mind. So just lining it up, there we go. And it's pretty friendly. So, you know, if you hit the worker, it'll kind of line it up and do it properly for you. So that gives you time to kind of check on the other stuff. So I've got no fields to seed at the moment, but when I am ready, I can jump in my seeder, I can line that up, and off I go. So the last kind of remaining thing is when that harvester is done, you can jump over here and you can drop all of the grain into this collector. Now, probably some serious farming simulator people would say, hey, you need to drive that out in the field and get the stuff from the harvester, but I find that that's a bit of a waste of time when it is so close. You just drive the harvester over and dump it into the collector. So the last piece to farming is kind of like collecting that grain. And what you need for that is obviously a trailer, which you get given to start with. So the trickiest thing you'll do all day is line this thing up, and oh, wow, you would be surprised at the outtakes of how many times I've had to try and do that. And then you can choose to fill it with whatever you like. So let's just fill it with wheat, for instance, just for example, because this can be a bit of a process. You will lose hours playing this game, and it is super fun. And then pop the lid on and you can simply drive over to the local mill and dump it out and get paid for it, and then kind of that cycle goes around and around. So it does take a bit of time to drive around. One of the things I don't like about this game is the fact that you can't automate that taking to the mill, because it would take a good 5 minutes. So I'm not going to do that and bore all of you guys to tears. Yeah, but that's some top tips. So remember to toggle between your cars, to your tractors, sorry. And that's the kind of process, and once you get your head around it, it'll actually become a lot easier. And now I actually know that I've probably got enough room for that seeder. I sure do. So I can start driving that seeder up, and it's not going to get in the way of my cultivator, and then I can start going, because I guess with anything, time is money, and certainly in farming, time is money. So it's important to get really efficient with that stuff. So hope you've enjoyed some of the top tips. I think I might do another video if Fletch will let me on Farming Simulator and show you some of the other options that you can do, because there's just not enough time in one video to talk about all of those exciting things. So thank you for watching, and I hope to do another Farming Simulator video for you very soon. Alright, take care and goodbye.